No surprise, went perfect yet again last week. I got 5 spicy picks today at Pork Slope, which is fantastic, despite being a Michigan bar.
It's simple. We love college football, we love ridiculous food, so let's pick some huge games against the spread every week and eat until it hurts. It's easy call.
Week 5, and we are going all over the dang country. The headliner, South Carolina, hosting Mizzou in Columbia as 9-point favorites. Keys for the Tigers: health. The offensive and defensive line not healthy. That's a problem going on the road. Number 2, coaching. Gary Pinkel, questionable use of time and timeouts last week. Can't have that in a tough road spot. And finally, quarterback for Mizzou. Matty Mock needs to be able to keep up if this goes to a shootout. The offense isn't what it was last year. He needs to be on point consistently. Keys for South Carolina: their own coaching, specifically special teams. 2 kickoff return touchdowns allowed against Vanderbilt, not cool against a good team like Mizzou. Number 2, the defensive front. They need to live in that Mizzou backfield, a beat-up offensive line to hide their secondary, which is still dubious. And finally, X's and O's. Find creative ways to keep getting the ball to Pharaoh Cooper. He is a big play human. Keep those big plays coming. I like Mizzou, but I'm going South Carolina here. I think that weird sandstorm, it's going to be real weird for Mizzou, who stagnated on offense last week. Let's call it 30-21. I feel good about that as a perfect person. All right, let's bring in some, Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. I'm going to get into these in a second. But first, the headliner out west, the Saturday headliner at least, Stanford going on the road as 4.5-point favorites to Washington, that crazy Husky stadium. Keys for the Cardinal: number 1, coaching. Be creative in big moments. I'm going to have to keep saying this because it keeps cropping up as a problem. Next key, the defensive front for Stanford. Washington's offensive line has been up and down. Get to Siler Miles in that weird, wonky throwing motion of his. And the third key for Stanford, their offensive line. Washington's leading the nation in sacks. That's a troubling stat. You have to be good for 4 quarters on the road. Be it. And keys for Washington: number 1, coaching. Stagnated on offense very worrisomely. Not a word, but I'm going to roll with it. Against Georgia State last week, 0 points. You have to come out with a better game plan. 2, the defensive front. The secondary is not great. They need to get to Kevin Hogan and make him make mistakes, which he has been prone to do in close, really difficult games. And finally, speed. Stanford is going to do a very good job of tackling in the open field. Washington's offense, specifically the passing game, predicated on yards after the catch. We're talking about a lot of talented receivers. They need to make room for themselves. I'm going Stanford here. I don't love the pick, but I also don't love Washington in a huge spot this early on. They haven't looked good thus far this season against really nobody. I'm going to go Stanford relatively close. Let's go 23-17. I think they take it. Yeah, much in the way though. I'm going to take these Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. God, I've never said all of those words in the same sentence, and I'm delighted to do so now. Let's try this without the sriracha ketchup first. Oh my God. Little chunks of beef. You got a white cheese, you got some grilled onions. The wrap is not greasy at all, which is very nice. Took you off. Not heavy. Could be much heavier than it is. You combine those 2 things. Let's get it with the sriracha ketchup. Oh my goodness, yes. Next game, and this is gonna be a really fun one. Actually, that plate's going to look a lot different in a little bit. But Arkansas and Texas A&M playing at Jerry World in Arlington. Texas A&M 14.5-point favorites and looking really as good on offense as anybody in the country. Keys for Arkansas: their defensive front. Obviously, Texas A&M likes to pass it, but they have the running backs to complement that really well. Make those tackles early. Next, the running back tandem: Collins, Williams. So good. They need to be able to give Brandon Allen 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 4s against a really improved Texas A&M defense. And final key for the Hogs, their secondary. Texas A&M obviously likes to throw the ball a ton. They need to make that first tackle attempt the last one. I like Tevin Mitchell and the experience in that secondary. They need to be perfect. Keys for the Aggies: discipline. A little bit sloppy early on against SMU. That flies against the Ponies, won't against a really improved Arkansas team. Next, the defensive front for Texas A&M. If that tandem for Arkansas, the running back tandem, get to the second level, done. That's danger. Texas A&M still a little bit weak in the middle of the field. And finally, balance for Texas A&M on offense. They have 3 excellent running backs to make Arkansas pay if they back off and rely too much on defending the pass. Count on that balance. Trust those running backs. I'm tempted to think it's a shootout, take those points, but I don't think Arkansas has the vertical threat to keep up in a shootout. So I'm gonna go 41-24 Texas A&M, close for a little while, but ultimately that offense, too many fireworks. We're going Texas A&M. The dish I'm about to eat sounds too good to just pull right in front of me. I'm gonna go back to the kitchen, talk to the mastermind, talk to Dale Talday, the chef here at Pork Slope, and see how fried chicken, waffle, and bacon sliders are put together. Come with me, won't you? All right, I'm now here, Dale Talday, the mastermind behind, what am I about to eat?
These are our chicken and waffle sliders. Oftentimes, the dark meat is the moist part, the breast gets a little dry. To prevent that, what we do with all of our chicken in-house is we marinate it in a little bit of yogurt and hot sauce. It almost has that tandoori Indian effect to it, so it's really nice. And then back here we have a little bit of warm sriracha maple syrup. We made a few Belgium-style waffles. We made kind of the thicker waffle. It was just too thick. It became
it's too bready.
It became the main event.
Right.
Every sandwich has to be balanced.
Right.
And we want to do the best bar food possible.
Right.
And for us, bar food means easy to eat.
Yeah, handheld.
Handheld.
Oh, that's sweet drizz. You are promoting an event, you are appearing, you are cooking these.
October 16th, we will be doing this dish for the New York Wine and Food Festival. And the event is Chicken Coop, and it's a fried chicken gala. Glorious fried chicken, great drinks, great wine, all for a great cause. Down in Chelsea Piers. So look up the event if you want to be part of it, and you'll be able to have these amazing sliders. And if not, you can always come to Pork Slope.
Oh man, so fried chicken and waffle sliders, American cheese, bacon, sriracha and Frank's Red Hot maple syrup. And a nap right after.
And a nap, yeah, absolutely.
It's a wonderful thing. I watch these get birthed. I'm speechless. I am going to, let's go with this one. They're a little bit sticky, which is great. You got the bacon, the cheese, golden brown. You already saw how this all went in. I'm about to complete this circle of delicious life. Oh my God. I love you. I'm not even scared to say it. Next up, and get these out of my face before I really make a fool of myself on camera, because really I carry myself so well otherwise. Cincinnati on the road to the shoe, 14-point underdogs to Ohio State. Keys for the Bearcats. Quarterback Gunnar Kiel can wing it. He's really good. Has to play huge in a big spot. It's an improved opponent, which brings us to number 2. The road. The horseshoe is difficult. Playing against Toledo and Miami, not as difficult. It's going to get loud and chaotic. No penalties early on. It's going to be huge for Cincinnati to get into a rhythm. And the third key for Cincy, their defensive front. They need to hide that secondary that has been not the greatest, not the most consistent. They need to get that offensive line and get to JT Barrett consistently. Keys for Ohio State. X's and O's. How well has this offensive staff, Urban Meyer, Tom Herman, put JT Barrett in a position to feel like he has a simple offense to run, simple reads, and can succeed right away? Number 2, running backs need to do a really good job on first and second down of getting 2 to 5 yards. So third downs aren't as terrible as they've been for Ohio State. We want it easy for JT Barrett. And finally, the secondary against Cincinnati, who wants to throw it a ton. They need to be consistently very, very good, or else it could be a very long day for Ohio State, which sounds weird. I'm going to say Cincinnati. I think there's a ton of points in this game. I don't think they win outright, but I think they're good enough to lose by 10 or 11. Let's call it 38-28 Ohio State, in a nice game, a nice confidence game for JT Barrett. I'm confident myself, segue, that I'm going to enjoy these broken chili wings. Oh, they look spicy, they smell sweet and spicy. We've got the homemade ranch. Pork Slope, just doing it for everybody. Get those hands sticky. If you're not sticky, you're not doing it. Good crunch on the outside. The heat hits you right away, not overwhelming. Tender. Oh, I like that sweet and spicy mix. It's so good. Let's get some of that homemade ranch. I really hope you're not zoomed in on my face too much, because I can't be looking good. What are you gonna do? Wings take precedent. And our final game, and this one's a big Thursday night Pac-12 game. Arizona State hosting UCLA, but UCLA 3.5-point favorites on the road. Keys for the Bruins: health. Brett Hundley has been practicing, but still has that bum elbow. How willing is he going to be to go and run? Because that's a really good option at running back, Brett Hundley. Next, the defensive front for UCLA. They're getting a backup quarterback on the other side of the field. They need to be the stars of this game. Kenny Clark, Eddie Vanderdoss, everybody get in that backfield. And finally for the Bruins, the offensive line. I'm just going to keep throwing it in there because it is the giant question mark. Arizona State's front, not that good. Take advantage this week, offensive line. Do it. Keys for Arizona State will happen in a moment because I'm going to have some beer. Why do you ask? Because it's beer. Keys for the Sun Devils, depth. Mike Bercovici steps in for the injured Taylor Kelly. Big game, Thursday night at home. We'll have the crowd behind him. How is he? Shrug face. Don't know. Next, their own offensive line. Going to be huge to give him time. He has playmakers all over the field. Jalen Strong, DJ Foster. Give him time to find them and get comfortable. And finally, coaching, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Keith Patterson with a week off to get ready for UCLA. Noel Mazzone, you have to be able to tackle in space. They have to show some improvement if they're standing a chance in this game. I'm going to go UCLA. I'm going to go the favorites on the road in the Thursday night spot. Hate that I'm doing it, but I think they're good enough with that defensive front against ASU and a backup quarterback. The crowd gets out of it early on. That's just an ASU thing. I'm going to say 28-24 UCLA barely covers in a really fun game. Yeah, that feels right. I'm going to occupy myself with some of these because there you have it. South Carolina, Stanford, Texas A&M, Cincinnati, UCLA. I went a perfect 0-5 last week. I've missed 17 out of 20 games this season. Go make free money. Do it. We'll see you soon.